Let's have a quick look at the performance of the Orie, which was launched very successfully last Saturday at an average price of 2,700 plus PSF. What made it surprising was not the fact that it was transacted at an average of 2,700 plus. In fact, I've been saying for like probably half a year before that I'm expecting Toa Payoh to be launching about 2,700 plus. But the surprising part will be that it was sold up to 86%, which was quite crazy given the fact that 2007 in the RCR 99-year leasehold is still pretty much unheard of. Until very recently, it seems that people have already accepted this kind of pricing. And if not for the smaller units that were swept up very quickly, that means we're talking about the two bedders and the three bedders. One bedder not so much because apparently it's still not as popular in this market apparently, but who knows, moving forward then maybe certain things are coming. But we take a look at the numbers today. So we look at this article again. Out of 777 units, 668 was sold on the weekend at an average selling price of 2,704 PSF. Almost all are Singaporean and PRs. 93% are Singaporeans, whereas the remaining 7% are PRs from all these countries, as well as one foreigner from the USA. Units started from 1.28 mil for 1 plus study, 1.48 mil for 2 bedroom, 2.09 mil for 3 bedroom, the smaller one which is 850 square feet, 2.92 million for a 4 bedroom, and finally 3.48 million for a 5 bed premium, and finally 3.48 million for a 5 bedroom with private lift. So as you can see over here, it's expected that there are already some units that were already bounced out from the day itself. It seems that people already realized that hey, this is not exactly too good of a deal, and that's why they decided to let go on the day itself. But this kind of thing bound to happen because of launch day pressure. There are a lot of things happening at the booking site itself, a lot of pressure from everyone, both peer pressure from other buyers. If you don't buy, then other people will be buying, and as well as agent pressure, as well as basically the whole environment is being cooked up in order to pressure you to buy. But ultimately, whether you are buying for whatever purpose that but ultimately, whatever objective that you are buying all these properties for, you must be very clear. Before you go into the show flat, you need to know what kind of target pricing that you are looking for. Is it really that much of a good deal? But before that, make sure that whatever target you are setting is actually a realistic target. Try not to expect to go in, for example, Orie, you know that everything else is going to be averaging 2,700 plus, and your Q number is going to be a few hundred, and then you're expecting to go in and snag up a unit at 2,500. That is a little bit ridiculous. In the first place, you need to know if you're buying for investment, does that actually even make sense given the kind of ballot number. You have to factor in the chances of you getting a very good number in order for you to secure a good unit and a very good PSF. What would be the chances? And if not, are there any other better options in the market, especially if you're looking at it from an investment point of view? But of course, for those people who are buying that this kind of PSF, then probably they are looking to buy into Toa Payoh as a place to really stay and not care so much. In fact, the interesting thing is that I encountered one of those buyers that locked in at 3,000 plus PSF. They told me that their Q number was about 2,000 plus, which is very interesting. But it seems that yep, there are really quite some people who are able and willing to pay that kind of price for this kind of location. This is the summary of the units that are sold and also available. As we can see over here, a large number of units over here are already sold, so we only look at the available ones, which are 1 plus study, 29 units left according to this chart over here, total 86.74% sold. Only one 2 bedroom premium is remaining, dual key also remaining, as well as some of the bigger units over here. The funny thing is that I do have some buyers coming to tell me that, hey, three bedroom, the three bed compact is not really that good of a deal because too small, there's no windows for the kitchen, and that's why people cannot cook, it's not suitable for families. I agree those things are true because some family buyers, they may be looking to cook very heavily or wok hay or whatever it is, they need that window. Maybe ultimately you also have to look at the bigger factor, which is the price quantum. Are people able to digest the bigger one? If not, then will they be willing to downgrade a little bit to something that doesn't have a window, smaller overall square footage, but as long as the room is not too tiny, they are able to cope with it. They may want something that is brand new in this location, and that's why 850 square feet, yes, it may look small on paper, but there will be some people who decide to still go ahead. I wouldn't really say 850 square feet is a very comfortable layout, but definitely are there people who are willing to buy up this? Yes, I would say definitely. We have seen quite some developments with this kind of layout, still selling, profiting quite a little bit. So ultimately, it really depends on whether you are open to the modern trends because of a lot of constraints, like example, price constraints. So over here, courtesy of Stack Homes, they also agree with this that 850 square feet three bedders were somehow even highly contested. In fact, some of them drop out, and then a further 77 people actually balloted for that one unit that pop up. It shows that there is really very strong demand for this kind of layout, and I'm very sure 77%, not all of them are investors. Quite a lot of them were actually buying to really want to stay in that unit in this location. Most important thing is if the price point is fine. The funny thing is that chances of people actually going to look at it in the resale market is actually going to be very high. Some of the figures for the respective unit types, what I did over here is that we look at the median price. Take note, just now the one that we talk about is average price. Now we are looking at the median price of each unit type. The median price for the 5 bedroom is 2,570 PSF that is transacted. Highest at 2,751, lowest at 2,411, which is not too shabby, quite decent for a 5 bedroom. 4 bedroom, we look at 2,600 plus median pricing, which is a little bit higher. Highest at 2,838, lowest 2,399. So funny thing is that the 4 bedroom PSF ended up lower than the 5 bedroom for the lowest that is transacted. Moving on to the 3 bedroom, median price is already hitting 2,712. So as you can see, the smaller units obviously in this case are pulling up the average PSF. Highest 2,988, almost hitting 3,000 already for 3 bedroom. Lowest at 2,433 PSF. As you can see, the difference over here is getting wider and wider between the lowest transacted PSF for the 3 bedroom and the highest transacted. 2 bedroom, let's see, PSF has already gone up to 2,846, probably the most popular unit type. 2,846 median PSF, which is quite a lot above the average that was reported at 2,704 PSF. Highest at already 3,064 PSF transacted. Guys, come on, this is really quite impressive, I must say, for a 99-year RCR leasehold at 3,064. I really don't expect to see this kind of transaction happening on launch day itself, but apparently this is not even the only 3,000 plus PSF. I would say it is quite a lot from what we see over here. Let's just continue. The lowest transacted PSF recorded for 2 bedroom was 2,500 PSF, which is really not cheap at all. 1 bedroom, on the other hand, median PSF drops back to 2,737. Highest already hitting almost 3,000, lowest back to 2477. The highest PSF and in a way most popular belongs to the two bidders with a medium PSF at 2,864. So is 2,864 PSF really that good of a deal? Especially when you are buying it from an investment point of view. For something that is 700 square feet, you are already looking at already $2 million in terms of price quantum. So how much does this guy have to sell off to make a decent amount of profit? So let's just move on a little bit back to this, and now instead of looking at the median for the respective unit time, then we look at the whole development. Now instead of the reported 2,704 PSF. Now, if we look at the whole development that was transacted, this is the median PSF at 2,758. So actually, this was transacted even higher. So because of the bigger units that are pulling down the average PSF to 2,704 as compared to 2,758 PSF median pricing. So if we look at this again, if somebody enters at this PSF and they want to make a decent profit in terms of investment out of this, how much will they have to sell? Will they have to sell at 3,100 to 3,200 in order to make a good margin on this? I think definitely, but what are the likelihoods of this happening within the next 3 years? I think this is where we have to really think about, is it really feasible if you are buying this in terms of investment? Now back to this chart that previously we showed in our previous review for Orie. It projected somewhere around here because this is 2006 PSF, this is 2008 PSF, and then we are looking at 2,700 PSF, which is quite accurate according to the average. As we can see over here, almost 2,700 flat as I kind of predicted. But if I look at the median, is a little bit higher over here that was transacted. Then how much higher does it have to go? And look at the gap over here. Is this something that you gotta be concerned about when it comes to exiting in the resale market? Same thing, like I said just now again, are these people actually regretting after booking the units and then trying to get out? What can you do in order to avoid this kind of situation? Because this is not going to be a cheap mistake by any means. For those of you who don't really have an idea, you can just go to URA and go and check out how much will the forfeit be if somebody books a unit and then decides to back out. And that is what I wish none of you here listening to this channel will be exposed to. So just a comparison, if we look at what happened to Irwell Hill just almost about 4 years ago when they bought these units for investment. So three of them, two bidder. This guy made a decent, okay, I wouldn't say a very good amount of profits, but if I'm not wrong, they entered at about 2,700 plus PSF. They exited at 3,000 plus PSF. But if we look at investment point of view, this is the ROI at 11.8%. And these two definitely didn't make money because especially after you factor in the buyer's stamp duty and all the other causes, these two definitely didn't make money. This guy probably just managed to break even and earn a little bit more. But even for such a location, today they are already hitting the resale market at 2,700 plus, 2,700 plus, and all these are happening quite recently. If they are hitting at this kind of PSF for that kind of location, what will be the chances of Orie hitting 3,000 plus next time, since the average entrance PSF currently for Orie is already hitting 2,700 plus? So will all of them have to exit at this PSF in order to make this kind of ROI? Is this the right kind of investment returns that you should be gunning for? I think that leaves something for you to really think about. Then the next one will be Canning Hill Pier. Same thing also, quite a nice prestigious location to most people, but unfortunately these two guys probably can't even cover, not probably, I would say definitely cannot cover their buyer's stamp duty. And in that case, is it even worth as an investment? And they definitely didn't buy this for own stay, because if not, they wouldn't have exited right after their seller's stamp duty period. So moving forward, I think it is very important for you to be very clear that wherever other people are going in terms of visiting all the newer show flat, where the crowds are gathering, where the crowds are is it definitely always translating to a better opportunity for most people? I think if you don't really know what you're doing and you're just following suit, chances of you being led to the wrong destination is actually very high. Remember, when it comes to investment, it's always good to have a very good framework, knowing where to hedge your risk, going for lower risk, and then try to maximize your returns. I think this is what we are really trying to aim. Instead of buying a trophy item and hopefully somebody else buys from you at an even more trophy price. And that is definitely not how we want to play with a product that is worth millions of dollars. So if you're looking for an investment property of lower risk and higher returns potential, this is exactly what I do for my clients in ensuring that they enter the right investment property at the right price, timing, and as well as exiting at the right price and timing as well. Because most importantly, always don't forget that it's not about the entry, but most importantly, the timing and price of the exit as well. If you have any other questions, you know exactly what to do. Thank you guys, see you, and take care.